Hi everyone, welcome to Skill Inspirational Academy. Today we will be discussing the topic which is very important and everyone needs to know about this topic, like how network traffic flows when client connects to F5 and F5 forwards the traffic to the server. In this case we will find out like how net happening and how traffic flows from client to F5 then F5 to the server. So if you see in this picture one, this is network traffic flow when your client, your browser is accessing www.f5.com. So in this case, first very important concept, it will forward to DNS server. So in DNS case, first thing will be checked, like do you have entry on your local cache? Okay. In this case, if it does not have entry in local cache, it will forward the traffic. It will then check local host entry. So you can see all DNS entries in your browser are in localhost, extra host, dash etc dash host. If it does not find entry in local cache, etc host, then it will forward the traffic to local DNS server defined in your browser. Okay. So in this picture, if you see traffic goes from your internet to the DNS server. So DNS server will give IP address. It will resolve www.f5.com to this IP address 216.34.94.17. So once it goes the entry, then client will access your application, your web on this IP address. So we have a web which is configured as 216.34.94.17 colon 80. So now in this case, how traffic will flow? Let's go in the picture, next picture. So here we have a browser, we have an internet, we have F5 box, which is an intelligent box. Then we have backend servers. So this is the initial scenario. Let's move to the next slide where I will talk about like how initial forward traffic goes and how return traffic will go. So this is very important. So I have many students who have a query like how network flows, how packet one goes, and how return traffic. So this in this picture I will tell you. So let's say that we have a browser with IP address 207.17.117.20. Okay, he wants to access web which is on IP address 216.34.94.17 colon 80. It can be on port 80 or it can be on port 443. So first of all, if you see in this packet, if we talk about network flow packet and IP address, so source would be your browser IP address and port is random, which we are using it as a, if you can see it's, we are using it as a 4003 port. And what would be your destination in packet one? Destination would be your web IP address, which is 216.34.94.17.80. Okay. So when, so here till here, your packet one is gone. So source would be your client IP address and your destination would be your F5 IP address, which is your virtual IP address. So once F5 receives your packet, so once here F5 receive the packet, so we are not using any snat or something. So once F5 receive packet, what would be the next flow in this full proxy architecture? So full proxy architecture we are using here. So we are discussing network packet flow in your full proxy architecture. So in this case, we have two connection. One is from client to F5. Another one is from F5 to the server. So by default, your F5 device translate destination address to the load balance pool, or we can say node based on your load balancing algo. So load balancing algo can be your round robin, your can be least connection and anything. So it will not translate your client IP address. So in this case, your source would be same, which is your client IP address, and your destination would be converted from your VIP IP address to your this IP address. So please note down, this is very important. Someone says that F5 uses destination net. So destination net is a wrong term. F5 does not do any net. By default, it translates your destination address to the node based on your load balancing algo. So there is no concept we need to turn on any net or something. It's by default behavior, LTM translate your address to the node based on your load balancing algo. So in this case, we are using round robin algo. So in round robin, your client will come to F5. F5 will see the pool member, and pool member, it will go to the first member. So first member is done. So in second connection, it will go to 172.16.20.2. In next, it will go to 20.3. In next, it will go to 20.4. So this is how it goes. So this is a very important term. This one I am marking again. So LTM translates destination address based on load balancing algo. It will never translate your source IP address. So in both packets, your source IP would be same, which is your client IP address 207.17.117.20. I hope this is clear now and you will never forget. If you have any questions, any concerns, you can ask me, you can add on comments. Now we will talk about network flow return package. Okay, in return packet, like when server will respond, how traffic will go from server. Return packet will be going from your server to your F5. In this case, it will go from F5 to the client. So in this case, your source would be, what would be your source? So source would be 172.16.20.1. So that is the right answer. So source would be your server IP address, and your destination would be your virtual IP address, which is, sorry, destination would be your source IP address, which has initial connection, which is in packet 1. 207, which is your client browser IP address, which is 207.17.117.20. Okay. So in this case, LTM will translate the source address back to your virtual server. So in this case, packet 1 arrives here. Now in F5 to the client. So in F5 to the client, your source address would be, so LTM will translate the source address back to your virtual server. So source was server IP address. It will translate to 216.34.94.17, and your destination would be same client IP address. So this is how your return packet will be. So if you see in return packet, your source first was your pool member IP address. In second case, it was your virtual IP address. So it translates your source address back to the virtual server, but destination was same in this case. So this is how your network flows. Further on in next video, I will tell you like how ARP entries, how layer 2 comes in picture and how layer 3 comes in picture. What are different types of virtual server and how packet flows there. But initial step, I hope this is clear, and you need to understand this, that there is no term called destination net. You don't need to turn on any net. This is by default behavior. So if you have any questions, you can comment. If you like it, you can subscribe it and share with your friends. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.